Welcome to this new series where we're going to be sharing advice on moving home. Moving home is always stressful, it's emotional, it's challenging. There's a lot of variables and moving parts, and you want to be moving home like a pro, which is exactly why we are bringing you this alongside our friends and moving experts from AnyVan. So we're going to crack into it. Angus, great to meet you. You are the founder and the CEO of AnyVan. Can you give us a bit of background about how it all came about?
Yeah, of course I can. Well, AnyVan was founded in 2009, and it was built to try and create an affordable and easy and a sustainable way to move. And what's really interesting is that 50% of vehicles on the UK roads travel half empty and 25% travel totally empty. And it's that problem we're trying to solve at AnyVan. It's huge.
Okay. So that's 50% of distribution vehicles, of delivery vehicles.
Delivery and removal vehicles,
removal
yeah,
vehicles.
Correct. And we're trying to effectively utilize that empty capacity, and that's what makes us unique.
Got it.
As then we can offer affordable pricing to our customers.
Because you can fill the vans.
Correct.
And you do that, how do you do that? Via tech, I suppose.
So we use technology to try and, in the simplest of forms, use as fewer vans as possible, and to utilize our partners' empty capacity. Exactly.
So does that mean your vans are traveling with lots of people's items on it?
Yep, that's definitely partially correct. There was 0 point having lots of vehicles with lots of people's goods going in the same direction.
Cool.
And we ultimately use technology to bridge that gap, and we try and use as few as possible. Yeah. But what's really important, that's us being able to group those jobs. That's then we can offer affordable pricing for our customers.
Which is absolutely top of people's minds at the moment, as it should be.
It really is.
So am I therefore to believe a lot of your competitors actually have to charge more because they're not using the capacity of the van?
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
If a dedicated vehicle versus a vehicle with 2 or 3 people's goods in, is going to be more affordable.
Yeah.
Then ultimately all those sort of customers can then benefit from that groupage effectively. Yeah. But it's important to understand that for the larger removals, you obviously can't group. You don't want to group.
If you're moving a whole house, all the contents.
Exactly. That's obviously a dedicated vehicle. Sure.
When people are preparing their goods to go in one of your vans, do they put everything in? Do they cram as much into a box, or do they leave it in a pile, or how does it work?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I was actually moving recently with my family, and my wife and I were kind of packing up, and she just started putting all these smaller items in this pile, hoping that the removals company would then start to sort of pack it into the van, but actually it makes it really challenging. If you have lots of smaller items, you can't really stack them in the vehicles. So what we try and advise is to use as many boxes as possible, or to put as many of the smaller items in boxes if they can fit. Look, we understand it can get expensive, and also it's not such a eco way because using too many boxes isn't the best way forward, but we ask them to try their best. Like, the more we can put in boxes, the better.
Yeah. And what about how do you pack things in the box? So you're not going to put a load of those straight in the box?
Yeah, so obviously with tissue is always a good way to do it. Yeah. Just wrapping each and every item. Obviously just the fragile ones. If it's like kettles and toasters, just put those into a box and then label them accordingly.
AnyVan is a smarter way to move home, furniture or vehicles, and it could save you up to 40%. With over 100,000 excellent ratings, you can trust AnyVan. So visit anyvan.com to get a quote today. And given that you have got a real focus at AnyVan on sustainability, what about where do you get your boxes from? Because boxes, they can be used more than once. How do people A, get hold of them, or B, move them on?
We're huge advocates of using second-hand boxes. Like, boxes should be used 3-4 times until they start getting too tatty or kind of unsafe to use. But there are sites out there like Gumtree, there's Freegal, and there's FreeCycle, and people after a move are very happy to get rid of their boxes.
Yes.
One thing we try and get people to avoid is using those kind of supermarket boxes or those banana boxes you pick up, because once again, you can't really start stacking those in a vehicle, and it just makes the move a bit more of a struggle. And obviously, the plan is to make it as smooth as possible.
Sure. I so remember when we moved, my children, who were quite small at the time, for days played in the boxes.
Yeah.
They didn't want us to get rid of the boxes. No, that's my castle. I've built the stuff out of it.
We actually tried to create a few years ago a kind of box fort.
Yeah.
And actually, I think we may well bring it back because a lot of people loved it. People loved it.
Loved it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What about naming boxes and taping boxes and that kind of thing? Is that something you recommend?
Yes, definitely. Because what's important is when you arrive at the property, you want them to put them actually into the rooms that they came from. And if they're not labelled correctly, obviously mistakes can happen. A little tip is also worth writing on the actual tape rather than the box. Because if you are using the boxes 2 or 3 times,
yes,
and there's lots of writing on the boxes, obviously it's hard to decipher which ones.
So guilty of that.
Yeah,
so guilty.
So it's an easy fix.
Angus, I know sustainability is an important theme at AnyVan, but how do you do your removals and your delivery in a sustainable way?
Okay, so let's just take this in 2 parts. So removals, we send a dedicated vehicle. Obviously, we try and send as local a driver as possible,
yeah.
But also what's important is we offset every single mile travelled, and that's through a partnership with the World Land Trust. And they build forests out in Vietnam.
So you're calculating how much carbon you're emitting by your removals. And
exactly, exactly that. And we offset every single mile. So we are carbon neutral.
Excellent.
And then we have the delivery side of it, where people might be moving 1, 2 or 3 items.
Yeah.
And then we try and put different people's items in one van. So ultimately we try and use as fewer vans as possible. So ultimately you're driving less miles,
yes,
but still, so it's eco-friendly in that respect.
Yeah.
But again, we offset every mile we do travel to.
And would it be fair to say, if you've got lots of people's items in the same delivery van, it's better business for you and it's more cost effective for the customer?
It's way more cost effective, and it's good for our drivers as well. We want our drivers to earn more for every mile travelled.
Yeah.
We want our customers to save by giving them an affordable rate as well. So that's very, very important.
So that comes into play when people are moving a box, a couple of boxes, which we're all doing more and more now.
Yeah, people upcycle. Yeah. People are selling these secondhand classified sites are going through the roof, and people aren't throwing stuff away, which is great.
Yes.
And obviously it's more business for us, so we're definitely happy.
Have you got any stats on the numbers of vans or the sort of capacity of vans that are out there on our roads using petrol, clogging up traffic lanes that aren't full?
Yeah, there is 50% of all vehicles or all vans, let's say in the UK, travel half empty, and then 25% travel totally empty.
That's madness, isn't it?
It's mad. And if we can try and just utilise some of the empty space, it's going to benefit everybody.
Yeah.
And it's a huge improvement across the board.
And looking to the future for a moment, how do you see sustainability being enhanced within your industry? What can you do?
So above and beyond what we do currently, electric vehicles, I think, is the next move.
Yeah.
The ultimate dream, if we can have every single one of our partners has an electric vehicle, but at the moment, technology hasn't quite got there yet, especially for our industry.
Okay.
And we've already got a couple of electric vehicles out there in our fleet.
So you're on the way.
We're on the way, and that journey's just begun. Mm-hmm. And over the coming years and years, we'll be trying to promote as many as possible. As those vehicles become more accustomed to moving the larger items and longer distance for that matter.
Got it. I really love how you have made sustainability a real theme at AnyVan, and that does separate you from quite a number of your competitors, I would hazard a guess.
It's through our core. That is why we do it. There are so many inefficiencies in this industry, and that is the exact problem we're trying to solve.
Keep doing what you do.
That's very kind.